All right, we're live. I'm here with Matt Moger. He's going to be an upcoming speaker
Wait,
at our event.
wait a
We're
second.
live.
It's Moger.
Moger,
Yeah,
Matt
I have
Moger.
to I have to make sure people know.
And the funny thing is, I was thinking about that before we got on, but just
No,
habit,
no.
me
I
thinking
mean,
Moger.
if you read it, it looks like Moger. I'm just spreading the good word.
You're good, man. Matt Moger.
Perfect.
He's a speaker at our upcoming event, the Capital Connection, on May 12th. He's a professional in creative financing, especially with mobile home parks. And he's got a lot of knowledge, and I think he's going to add a lot of value to our event and also this live. So thanks for being here, Matt.
Man, I appreciate that a ton. Those are the nicest things anyone's ever said about me in a
Well,
row.
good. Well,
So,
good. Hope I can add to it next time.
yeah, dude, I am so pumped about this.
That's going to be great, man.
All right. I'm ready to
It's going
be
to be
interviewed.
well, good. So I know a little bit about your backstory, but why don't you tell everybody else, like, who is Matt Moger? How'd you get started? How'd you get into the real estate space in general?
Well, I want to leave some room for mystery, but I'll tell
All
you a
right.
little bit.
All right.
Yeah, so started as a 26-year-old with no money, no experience. I had heard David mention and several of the others that Rich Dad Poor Dad was a huge turning point, and it almost sounds cliche to say so,
Yeah.
but man, that book changed my life. I was a new, college graduate of a couple years. Was headed towards a career path of. Uh, I was ready to head into a deep dive into UPS and read that book and just decided that would have made me miserable. It
Yeah.
is good for some people, but for Matt, I mean, I couldn't. I don't know. I couldn't see myself in khakis every day and answering to a bunch of people. That's probably you'll find that out as we talk. I'm
Yeah.
a little bit of a ADD. I won't call it a problem. I think it's a blessing.
Yeah.
Little-
I feel you there. I've got the same problem or blessing.
yeah, absolutely. So that was the initial turning point, and then the biggest thing was, oh, how do you invest in real estate with no money and no experience? And let me tell you, it's doable. It's an obstacle, and
Yeah.
so that was what I spent the next 3 years figuring out how to do. um, and I went really slow at first. I swear it's going to sound like I'm copying Dave, um, because it was a slow crawl for the first 6 years,
Yeah.
and then years 6 to now, which is about 12 years, almost 13. um, 10 times the amount of activity, 10 times the amount of property. And
Yeah.
it sounds fake, but it's the reality. When you have the knowledge and you have some experience under your belt and you have the connections, which, this is what you're doing here. You're connecting people that are like-minded,
Yeah.
and you can't get you can't get anywhere without help, in my opinion. So
Yeah. I agree. I definitely agree. So, how did you get into your first deal? What did that look like? Was it a mobile home park deal? Was it single
ooh.
family?
Yeah, we actually, I wanted, as a 26-year-old, I was like, man, I'm going to make $1 million in 2 years. I'm going to be a flipping machine. I came onto the scene in 2010, when there were a lot of foreclosures, REO properties in our area, which I'm in the Winston-Salem area as well.
Yeah.
And so we were just lowballing offers that were out there on the MLS, and
Yeah.
we picked up our first one with the help of a friend of mine's father who had been flipping in the heyday of flips. And we made a whopping 13 grand on that net. And I was ecstatic,
Yeah.
um, because you hear stories of people that get into flips, don't know what they're doing, get taken advantage of by contractors. And some people lose on their first couple deals. And so to make $13,000 as a 26-year-old, I was over the moon. And I
Yeah.
thought I was a pro at that point. I'm going to be
Yeah.
honest. I was like, this business is
It
easy.
seemed too easy.
I can do this 10 more times.
Yeah.
And if you want me to keep going, I will. But that rolled into our second property, which was about 6 months later.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Now we're coming into the summer of 2011. And let's just say every mistake you can make on flipping, I made on that second property.
Yeah.
Which is how I became an accidental landlord. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's
So
how
you
I got
couldn't sell it.
couldn't
You couldn't
sell
sell
it.
it. You had to end up keeping it.
Yeah. Dabbled in lease with an option, which
Okay.
at first seemed like it was going okay. Around month 11, the gravy train of $300 a month stopped. And then I'm upside down even more. Instead of making 300 a month, I'm spending 700 a month.
Yeah.
These people threatened to sue me because, the house I gave them was very uninhabitable.
Yeah.
If I could use air quotes, I'm holding the laptop at this level. I want you
Yeah.
to know. They had let it deteriorate without telling me, and in the meantime reported me to the city because that was all my fault, and
Oh,
it
yeah.
just left a really bad taste in my mouth. So it's no wonder that people get involved in rental real estate, get frustrated quickly, and then decide
Yeah.
they never want to do it again. And
Yeah.
if anyone should have quit, it should have been me.
Yeah.
But I'm too
So,
stubborn.
yeah, definitely. So I've got a question about that. It sounded like with the first deal you did, you had your friend or your friend's dad that was experienced and was
Mm.
kind of a mentor helping you through that. Why didn't on the second one you go back and like talk things over with him, or maybe you did? Like what was that relationship dynamic?
Oh man, that is such a good question. So you and I have talked about this ad nauseum in the real estate investment. What do we want to call it? Mentorship game,
Yeah.
mentorship space. New folks are putting a lot of trust in someone who touts themselves as experienced and willing to help, and I just think maybe that got a little bit ahead of my friend's father.
Yeah.
And there were a few people that had put their trust in him to help them, and he more or less took advantage. And
Uh,
my situation with the first flip was not that bad. However, he helped me find a rehab crew, and when we were 2 weeks from the finish line, putting the thing on the market, he pulled the rehab crew from my job to start on one of his new ones,
oh man.
putting me in a kind of a rough spot. I've got holding
Yeah.
costs. He knew I didn't have any money really, or much money. And so that delayed the process. So that kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. And then something else came to light where he really took advantage of someone.
Yeah.
And, I had enough knowledge to get into the second property. Thankfully, my second mentor and gentleman that I ended up staying with and learning from for about 5 years came on the scene after I'd kind of already made a few of those mistakes with
Yeah.
house number two, which I've nicknamed the house from hell, by the way. No bones about it. It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
But the neat part about that is, and about buy and hold real estate, is that house that seemed to be just like a terrible investment, poor decisions left and right. We have made, no exaggeration, we have made over $100,000 over 8 years on that property,
Yeah.
which is
That's awesome.
that's kind of nuts. And actually, now that I think about it, my math is wrong. We started making our money back on that in 2012, so over 10
Yeah.
years.
Wow.
Um, Still, I mean, it looked like a bad decision, and we've still made over 100 grand on something like that. That's the power of buy and hold real estate. It
Yeah.
absorbs
Absolutely.
some of your mistakes. It
Yeah.
can.
It's like David Green says a lot. Real estate is very forgiving. You make a bad decision and you hold it for long enough, and you look like a
That's right.
genius.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and you look at the power of stuff that maybe you and I thought was a little bit high in price back in 2017, twenty
Mhm.
eighteen. And there were some things that I bought where I was like, these numbers work, but I'm not super excited about them.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, just skyrocket.
Yeah.
And then the appraisals cut we did a big 13, 14 property refinance back in March 2 years ago. And I had this game with my with my lender. He said the appraisals came back, and I was like, "Don't tell me. I want to guess." I was like, "I want to guess the price of this
Yeah.
house I paid X for," and he'd throw me an address, and I'd say $150,000, and he'd like point up or down, and I was like, "No way!" I was,
That's crazy.
it's kind of like real life Price is Right.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people experience that the past few years. Prices
Yeah.
have just exploded. So what's been the biggest source of these deals? Are you sending out like mass mail campaigns, or are you doing cold calling? Like, how have you been finding these properties?
Yeah. So early on, I tried all the traditional stuff. I had We
Yeah.
Buy Houses signs, which the municipalities love. Um, I tried direct mail. I tried yellow letters. I even mailed handwritten yellow letters because I was on a budget.
Yeah.
Um, there are returns, and that was before some of these apps where you can take a picture and it'll send them something automatically. That was before a
Yeah.
lot of that stuff. And I know that's a very common one today, and I can't remember the name of it. But uh, all of those things, we purchased a few of those that way. But I felt like I was sifting through garbage. We had we had so many voicemails left from calls from bandit signs where they misread the sign and they'd say, "I see you buy horses," and I'm like, "Nope,
I
that
never heard that one.
RSVP'd you." Or I drew a house on some handwritten ones one time, and the lady apparently thought it looked like a car battery, and so she said, "I got about 30 car batteries in my backyard." So
Oh my gosh.
so I looked at those, but after being in the business for about 5 or 6 years, we had accumulated on average 2 houses a year, which honestly is not, to me, that's not really a good try. That's like that's not
Yeah.
that many. It's good if you hold them.
Yeah.
But when you're really trying to go to the next level, you feel like you're going slow. And
Yeah.
I looked at those, and out of the 12 properties, over half of them had come from um, just referrals, folks that knew what we were looking at and knew someone that needed help with the property, or they felt stuck. Maybe it was a death in the family or a divorce situation.
Yeah.
Um, Upside down, that was very common back in 2010, 11, 12, where they purchased it when the market was too high. And so coming up with some of these creative finance strategies, the word starts to spread. If you do
Yeah.
good, people tell their friends. If you do
Mhm.
bad, people tell everyone they know. They
Yeah.
tell strangers,
Definitely.
especially with the internet. So I looked at that and I was like, wow, the best deals that we have come to, and that we're still in single family at this point. So, but I said the best deals that we have moved on have come from word of mouth. Now, I know that's less of a predictable marketing strategy, but at the same time, you know, people are the people are powerful when they want to be. So,
Yeah.
um, I don't think I said that exactly how I wanted to, but uh,
No,
basically,
I think we got the point. Definitely.
yeah, as you talk, and let people know, hey, I've got something that might be of help to someone who feels
Mhm.
stuck, who has a home that doesn't quite fit inside the box of a realtor sells to a realtor. It's not for everybody. And oftentimes those are distressed properties or things that are unique. Um,
Yeah.
but luckily, you may have figured this out. I'm a little bit of both of those things too.
Yeah.
Um, so I decided to just dive in head first. And the easiest ways to get involved in things like that are smaller chambers of commerce. So I know you're in Kernersville Chamber of Commerce, Winston Chamber of Commerce, Clemens. And as you go to some of these, mixers and things of that nature, that somebody will tell you about another one, tell you about another one. And my
Yeah.
wife and I had talked, and I was like, if I'm going to make this work full time, I'm going to have to be away some evenings. I'm going to have to go to some of these things.
Yeah.
And they are very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You, well, you see that I'm a little bit of an outgoing person, but even for
Yeah.
me, like, it is a forced interaction
Yeah.
surrounding business with someone you don't know.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I've come to some real strong relationships inside of these groups, and
Yeah.
those rise to the top pretty easily. And you meet somebody who what you're doing resonates with them. They
Yeah.
introduce you to another like-kind person, and you really start to see the power of one person telling the next, and it sounds like a pyramid scheme when I put it that way. Well, if you just tell 3 friends about this,
Yeah.
they tell 3 friends, but
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
so that's ultimately where some of these first multifamily deals came from.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. And you kind of answered two of my questions in one, but like my next question was, how has networking played a role in your success? You were talking about the Chamber of Commerce and things like
yeah,
that. But I just want people to understand like the power of these situations and events like this. Just like our
yeah.
event coming up, the Capital Connection. When you
Oh
get
man,
around people that are like-minded, that want to
yeah,
succeed and also help other people succeed,
yeah,
like the opportunities are limitless. And you pointed on that a lot in the last couple minutes that you were talking about with the chamber.
yeah. And if you ever need me to stop talking, just
No, no, you're good. You're
put your
you're
hand up.
dropping value, man. I'm not going to stop you when you're on a roll.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a ton of power in that, and I'm honestly probably more excited to meet everybody than I'm excited to speak because I love getting up in front of folks and making an idiot of myself. But in the same token, I'm really excited to meet folks attending. I'm
Yeah,
excited to talk to some of the other speakers about all the things that they have going on. So I think it's going to be really powerful, and anything we can do to spread the word about this in the next couple of weeks, we got to do it. So
yeah, absolutely. So any of you guys watching right now, go ahead and share this live, share the event, the link, anything you can do to spread the word. We want to get as many people here as we can so that we can grow a presence in Winston-Salem and grow everybody as a whole.
yeah,
This is not just about us. We're holding this event to help everyone.
yeah.
So thanks for pointing on that, Matt. But
If we get over X number, I don't know. I don't remember what the target is to fill the room, but I might just show up in only a mustache. I mean, I'll wear clothes, of course. Yeah,
mustache and banana hammock.
I might lose this beard and just. I told you, I don't mind making a fool of myself. So
Hey, so you heard if we get over 150 people, Matt's
that's it.
coming. Mustache, banana hammock.
Yeah. Oh well, I didn't say that much. I didn't say.
Oh,
Well, look, we won't rule it out. We
we'll
won't
roll
rule.
it out.
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe we need to sell X number of VIP tickets.
Yeah,
Anyway,
definitely. That's too funny. So, so you talked about your original mentor. He was kind of
yeah,
a dud. You heard some things about him that you didn't like. Have you had
yeah,
anybody since then that's
yeah.
like really, really helped you in your business? And like, what role has that played?
Sure, absolutely. And is this a place where we mention names or?
We can mention
Um,
names if you and him are comfortable with that. I think that's totally
yeah.
cool.
Oh, he would love it. He's still doing it at a much larger scale these days. But and now when I say his name, you're gonna think, oh, I've heard of that guy. But I'll
Yeah.
clarify. So it's a local real estate investor. He is helping people all over the country. His name's Tony Robinson, not
Okay.
Robbins, not
Yeah.
not the guy with the big head and big hands with a deep booming voice.
Yeah.
that wrote Awaken the Giant Within, who is also an incredible person. But Tony Robinson is a
Okay.
local investor here. And I was part of his program for 5 years, and invaluable. I cannot um, express enough gratitude to him and his wife for all the help that they gave me over the years, which included the um, creative finance piece, even even so much so as sharing contractors and professionals, attorneys, tax professionals, all that kind of stuff was part of that hand holding process in the beginning.
Yeah.
And now I don't know if I could afford Tony's program, uh, you know, if I was coming in as a 26-year-old today,
Yeah.
because he's gotten much bigger over the years. But
Yeah.
thankfully, and I feel like it was kind of God's plan, God's timing to that I was there. And
Yeah.
I won't say it's all about coincidence, and it's I love Malcolm Gladwell, and he talks a lot about right place at the right time, but that
Yeah.
also has to meet hustle. So I
Yeah.
call it luck meets hustle. And so much of the growth that we've experienced has been through hard work and people that we've met at the right time. But if
Yeah.
you're not there,
Definitely.
if you're sitting on the couch, you're not going to get to meet those people, I don't think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it goes back to luck. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So
Yes.
you've got to be doing the work. You've got to put in the hours. You have to educate yourself so that when an opportunity presents itself, you can actually verify it's an opportunity and pursue
Oh,
it.
oh, absolutely.
But if you don't educate yourself, you'll never know. It'll just pass you by, just like anybody else, and you won't be able to take advantage of it.
Yeah. Well, and part how much of that is paying attention too, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I y- things will pass people by, but they don't even notice
Yeah.
because they're not looking for that thing. And I think one thing that I learned um, as I was coming out of college and meeting people and asking them questions, inevitably I'd hear somebody that was, close to 50 years older than me. Oh, I had the chance to do this or buy this or whatever 30 years ago when it was 5 cents. And you're
Yeah.
like, and you didn't? And they're like, no, you know,
Yeah.
I just didn't do it. And I'm like, man, that's depressing. I
Yeah.
like that.
It
And I
is.
never wanted that to pass me up. I was like, if I have the chance to buy something and it's going to make money or make money in a year, man,
Yeah.
I'm going to try to do it. I'm going to try to move heaven and earth to do it if it doesn't put my family in a bad spot. So,
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I agree, and I don't know what people are born with that keeps them from taking action. But
it is scary.
yeah,
I will not, yeah, I won't sit here and say um, that taking risk is scary.
yeah,
But at the same time, the what ifs, you can what if yourself out of anything.
yeah,
And yeah, you have to, I mean, you mitigate that with preparation and surrounding yourself with good counsel.
yeah,
But at the same time, when you know what's on the other side of that decision, when you've done it before,
mhm,
not scary and less risky.
yeah,
Um,
definitely. But I mean, the thing is, if you never pursue it, you have zero possibility of success.
yep.
So, me personally, I would rather trade zero possibility for success for a small possibility of failure any day of the
Oh,
week.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And if you keep going, you don't quit, you're going to succeed at some point. You're going
Absolutely.
to end up getting a big break. So,
I think so. I think so.
yeah. Well, I've got one more question left,
All
and
right, hit me.
you can elaborate on this as much as you want. But
Don't
a
give
lot
me
of the
that.
people,
Don't give me that much freedom, Quentin.
hey, take it as far as you want. But we've got a lot of beginners coming out to the event. Maybe
Yeah.
they've done a little bit of research about real estate. They're agents, and they've been interested for a while, but never taken action. What's one piece of advice you would give somebody that hasn't taken their first deal down, maybe doesn't have a bunch of money, but they
Yeah.
want to get started in real estate? what would
Yep.
you do if you were in their shoes again?
So, I mean, it is an interesting business, right? Where you look on the internet these days, right? And you've got all these folks touting the knowledge that they have and what they can buy with the proceeds. I can buy this car, or I can do
Yeah,
whatever. So you've got that side of it where it's a very much, there are some egos involved.
yeah,
You want to project that, but you can't project that in the beginning. Like there, and you shouldn't. You
yeah,
you have to be humble enough to ask for some help.
yeah,
And in the beginning, it is okay to partner with somebody, even to the point of splitting profits. I mean, some of my early deals, like I one of our first deals, we needed only $19,000 to come to the
yeah,
table. That in the grand scheme of things, that's not that much money.
yeah.
But I didn't have it. And so a friend of mine from high school that I knew had some interest in real estate, we happened to be talking at another friend's kitchen table. And he said, "Hey, I know you've done, two or three deals." He's like, he was actually buying a trailer park at the time, which,
Okay.
at that point in my career, I was like, trailer park, that's gross. Um,
Yeah,
so, the irony is great now, but, so I had this deal. Actually, he wasn't the first one I came to with it. There was another guy that showed some interest, and when I brought it to them, they wanted way too much profit. They wanted all my profit, basically, and I was like,
yeah,
that leaves me with nothing.
yeah,
So I went to this guy, and he put down the entire $19,000.
yeah,
And because of that, I had the opportunity to have some residual cash flow. And it wasn't even that sweet at the beginning.
yeah,
In order to get his money back faster, we split it 75-25 in his favor.
yeah.
So I only got 25%, and I did all the now I will say I did all the work leading up to finding the tenant. He actually cleaned out the house. Him and his wife cleaned it out. I was like,
Okay.
wow, I don't know why they wanted to do that, but
Yeah,
anyway, I probably mowed the grass a couple times. But after year 3, he got all his money back.
yeah,
So I went, on a lot of these early deals, I kind of went skinny to get the experience underneath of
yeah,
me. And but I mean, there's a lot of power in doing those first few deals.
yeah,
Because how many people did you talk to and say, I want to invest in real estate, or I am a real estate investor? And they say, well, how did you how many deals have you done, or what, how much cash do you have? And you're like, oh,
yeah,
well, none or not much. But after
yeah.
you've got 10 deals under your belt, like, you are by definition a real estate investor. It doesn't
Oh
matter
yeah,
what anybody says. And there's a
absolutely.
lot of power in that. And so I would say humility is probably a great place to start.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I mean, I do some coaching for Airbnb hosts,
Yep.
and that's the number one thing I tell them. Even if you have to take no money on your first
Yep.
deal, just getting a property under your belt where you can show success
Yep.
as a manager. That's where the context is, managing the property for somebody else.
Yep.
That is going to allow you to open up so many doors so that
Yep.
when somebody asks to see your portfolio, you can show that you're already successful in at least one property.
Absolutely.
So that's
Well,
what kind of changed the game for me, being able to show something on paper, and
yep.
that builds so much trust when you can show somebody results.
Well, and in your proof of concept are dollars back in their pocket, right? So
Yeah,
the second they get that first check, second check, third check, you are building a stronger and stronger relationship with that person based on that trust.
yeah,
Um, and I've always said, if it comes between me making, in the beginning, I was like, if it comes between me and $1,000 and ruining a relationship, no way. Well, the
yeah,
further I get into this business, that number continues to go up. If you and I were going after something we were both interested in, and we thought we could make something work, and
yeah,
I'm going to make 10 grand, 20 grand, but cut you out and put
yeah,
you in a spot where you'll never do business with me again, forget about it.
yeah,
Not worth it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are very short-sighted. I'll stop talking after this, but I sat down to breakfast with two other investors this morning. One was 70 years old, um, had multiple mobile home parks at different points, and he had also done some single-family development. And
Yeah.
the first development he did, this was in Davidson County, down near Lexington. He said he didn't know a thing about it. He had the land, but he had friends that knew about it. And he said, guys, would you be willing to help me at cost plus 10% on this stuff? Basically cutting him almost no profit. He's like, would you be willing to? And it was just going to be a small 11 house development. But
Yeah.
basically, he told them to their face, he said, I'm paying y'all for an education. So that was it. And he never went past the 8th grade.
Yeah.
And this is probably one of the wealthiest men I've ever met.
Yeah.
Showed up today in jeans and a t-shirt. And
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
There's so
I do
much
too.
power. There's so much power in this. And a lot of these guys have done it in a very noble way.
Yeah.
Honesty, integrity, and that's encouraging in a world where we look on the news and we see people, screwing people over left and right,
Yeah.
and just chaos. There are people that are making a living by taking care of people, which is awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And I've
Can't
overused
agree
the word
more.
powerful, so that's
That's
really
okay.
neat.
I can't agree more.
It's
Honestly,
neat. Yeah.
it is. It is. And what people don't realize is when you approach business in that way, you get 10 times the business back.
It's
So
backwards to the world. It's backwards, but I
yeah.
mean that principle. You can the book, The Go Giver. I mean, it's in the Bible. Like,
Yeah.
you treat people. It's technically the golden rule. You treat others the way you want to be treated. It's really
Yeah.
easy at its core, but
Yeah.
people let money get in the way. So,
They do, unfortunately.
and that's the irony. Anyway, I
Yeah.
know we're done.
No, we're wrapping up, but no, I
Like I
appreciate
said,
you so much,
mystery.
Matt.
We want to keep
Mystery.
some mystery here. So
That's
if you
right.
want to find out more about this mysterious, weird guy,
There's plenty to learn. Trust me.
May
Plenty.
12th, you
May
will not be
12th.
disappointed.
You
Not at
won't
all.
be. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening to me and Matt ramble. And hope you guys will join us on May 12th at the Capital Connection. You can get your tickets below www.capitalconnectionevent.com/registration. Thanks again. We'll see you soon.
All right. See you, buddy. Thanks, Quentin.
Yeah, thank you, Matt.